I have once again gotten myself into some drama. I'm kind of injecting myself into this one, but for some context, if you missed Moist Critical's video yesterday, he talked about some streamer drama that's been going on and gave his take on it. I'll just give you this first little intro.
We're going to talk about a controversial topic, Fansly advertisements on Twitch.
Now, that's the new hot drama to talk about these days, and originally I wasn't going to say jack shit about this. I wasn't mentioned at all in this video or really in any of the other conversations that I've seen, but it kind of felt like this because the entire conversation has stemmed from the Streamer Awards, my girlfriend's event, and all the Fansly hate has been directed at her, and then me with my chess boxing event that the primary sponsor, the biggest funder of it was Fansly, sleeping soundly, snoozing. So I figured rather than just lie down and imagine none of it's happening, I'd at least give my opinion, my take on it. And if you don't know, for a little bit more context, Fansly is like an adult-oriented site where you can subscribe to get like usually risque, usually pornographic content from creators that you might know because oftentimes those creators are also Twitch streamers. It's kind of like OnlyFans, but they've dominated the gaming space based off their marketing efforts and who is making the content on the website. That's it. That's the skinny of it. You get it. Bing, bang, boom. And it all started because during the Streamer Awards, which was also sponsored by Fansly, this ad was played.
Free trial of some of our hottest creators. On top of that, sign in using your Twitch account and see which of your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly. Fansly has a whole algorithm dedicated to discovering new content and creators through the Fansly For You feature. Swipe and discover today.
A very tame giggle as if someone came.
Yeah, and people were calling Charlie a hypocrite from this because he didn't admonish it, but he did admonish Aiden Ross showing porn to his viewers. And Charlie basically spends 12 minutes telling you 12 different ways why those are not the same thing. And then at the end also adds on that I also don't think it's okay to have Fansly as a sponsorship. So really, Charlie did nothing wrong in this situation. But me, I'm watching this. I'm eating my popcorn. I'm like, yeah, they are different. I do think showing porn directly is different than a website that could link porn. And then he was like, but Fansly sponsors are also bad. And I was like, oh, son of a bitch, I do those. I do those a lot, in fact. Now, to wrap up real quickly the Streamer Awards thing, here's Cutie reacting to the ad.
On top of that, sign
Probably should have seen these ads before he played them.
in using your Twitch.
She's honest there. She said she didn't look at these ads before they're played, which sometimes that's how sponsors operate. But me watching them, I'm like, oh, okay, so chess boxing was presented by Fansly. Title sponsor, literally in the title itself. I had a whole dramatic reveal.
What's going on in the middle of the ring?
Look up. Because we have the Fansly Sky Table.
Holy smokes!
I mean, you can't get more dramatic. Look at me.
This table will be where the magic happens, not just for Super Smash
Look at
Bros.
this.
I had people cheering for a goddamn table. And that's not where it's ended. I mean, obviously, Jerma's used Fansly before, which he was on the stage with me. Fansly instant replay from his baseball event.
Just rips the cover off that ball.
And then in a show that I hosted with XQC Juiced, I got Fansly as the sponsor. That was the main sponsor that we were able to secure. Originally, the sponsor that I used to use all the time, the one that would always be reliable for me, was Coinbase. Coinbase sponsored my Mogul money. They were supposed to sponsor XQC's Juiced, and XQC signed off on that. He was like, yeah, I love Coinbase. And then everybody was like, crypto's way too cringe. And Coinbase let go a lot of people, and they were struggling, so stopped using them as a whole. But here's a point to talk about. What is okay and not okay to use as a sponsor? And the answer, kind of boring. It's what is aligned with your ethics and morals, what you personally think is okay. And that should be different for everybody. But there's generally like a guardrail, like you're at a bowling alley, but you keep hitting the gutter. So you get the guardrail of what is okay and not okay according to like the public conscious. The way I determine it is the same way I just said it. It's what aligns with my ethics and morals. So it's kind of subjective. But I'll tell you before I jump into exactly what I'm cool with and not cool with about my ethos as a whole. Because when I switched over to YouTube, I made a specific mental switch that I would no longer get money directly from my viewers. And I put that in quotes because at the end of the day, I still only get money because of my viewers, but I get them from their views and their attention rather than their wallets directly. And before that, most of my money came from subscribers or donations. But since I've switched over to YouTube, I changed all of my subscribers or memberships to $1. And I stopped all donations. They're all capped at $10. And I don't even get any of those dollars anyway. They go directly to my moderators. It just felt weird to me to receive dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of dollars from an individual when I know I'm doing very well because YouTube signed me a big old paycheck. Thank you, Susan. Please sign it again. That's the gist. So I would rather be getting like a few pennies for your views and for your attention from different sponsors, from YouTube ad rolls, than I would money from you directly. Does that make sense? That was a switch I made, which, by the way, people I think are more and more making a decision that they don't like advertising. They don't like free stuff. Maybe they prefer a paid subscription service where you don't have to watch ads. That might be like a cultural shift, which I would just have to adapt to. So anyway, let's get to my ethics and morals of what I think's cool, what I think's not cool. Why did I take a Fansly sponsorship? If you guys don't know, it's kind of a downturn right now. There's not a lot of people who are out and about trying to sponsor events, at least not as many as there were a year or 2 years ago. It has dried up a lot. So Fansly has been one of the more reliable sponsors to work with. And honestly, I've been talking to them about sponsoring more events later this year. So, you know, I did say that I'm only guided by my ethics and morals. That was kind of a lie. I'm also guided by what the viewers would think is cool. For example, a sponsor wants you to look at their ad to maybe sign up for it. But if you guys all collectively decided, or the majority did, that the sponsor I'm using is super cringe, well, then it'd be a failure of a sponsorship. You guys would all shit on it. The sponsor would be upset. They wouldn't be happy with me. I wouldn't be happy because I'm not succeeding in creating a broadcast that's sustainable that I can do again in the future. So I would stop doing it. So there is another guiding principle, and that's all to say that your voice matters in this situation. If you're like, hey, Ludwig, Fansly's too far, or hey, Ludwig, I don't like when you did it with Coinbase, that'd be chill. In fact, that's part of why I stopped using Coinbase in the first place. Now, for me, maybe this is my European background. I care less about porn. I care less about nudity. I don't have this in my mind, a group of kids who I'm concerned about saving, and that's how I decide every moral or ethical decision is what these group of kids that are imaginary would care about. We should stop gambling because of the kids. We shouldn't show anything that's adult content because of the kids. We shouldn't advertise alcohol. I shouldn't do drinking streams because of the kids. I don't give a fuck about the kids. I don't cater my content directly towards kids. I do a lot of gambling. I do a lot of drinking. I do a lot of swearing. I wouldn't say that if you're a kid, I'm a channel that you should necessarily watch. Maybe this one because it's more drama. It's more straightforward. But my main channel, yeah, I get it to some debauchery. I used to take a poker sponsor. I only stopped because not my ethics and morals, but it would be too hard to argue against sponsored gambling, specifically for slots, and then still allow sponsored poker, which I view as different. That's a different line to me, which some people might call me crazy for. The way I see it is sponsored gambling, like slots or blackjack, has a house edge. You are guaranteed to lose money. It is an inevitable fact. The longer you play, the more money you will lose. And sponsored gambling is a little weird because I'm getting paid by this sponsor to gamble money I normally would not gamble. And then I would occasionally get wins I would not get and celebrate them as if they are as legitimate as any other win. I think that's weird. I think all sponsored gambling should stop. Having said that, I've never been against gambling content as a whole. If you go back to any of the videos I made about gambling, I always said end sponsored gambling, not end gambling. I love poker. Poker is one of the main games I played in college. I allegedly ran an illegal online poker ring for a while. And so I took poker sponsorships because you are playing against another human. And oftentimes when I was sponsored, it's because the house takes a rake, so they get a little bit of money, but you can still be a very winning player if you have studied more. And of course, you have luck and variance on your side. Anyway, but that's kind of where my line is. I don't take a lot of sponsors for things that I'm against using. That's kind of where I make my line, right? It's like if I wouldn't play this gacha game, then yeah, I probably shouldn't play it on stream for 2 hours because it's a little disingenuous. But sometimes I also break that too, right? I was sponsored by G Fuel for a while, but I was still drinking coffee every morning. Now I'm no longer sponsored by them because I think they're kind of a piece of shit company. But a lot of the streamers who are sponsored by G Fuel don't even drink that shit. It's way too much caffeine and taurine, and they just get a little cup of coffee in the morning, and then they pretend to drink G Fuel. Is that chill, right? What about people who are sponsored by gacha games? You know, do you think that's chill? What about VPN services that overhype their quality? What about free to download extensions that save you deals but might also sell your data? Is that chill to advertise? I think the reality is that everybody will draw the line right below what they do and then maybe admonish everything below that line as well. And everything above that line is okay with them and they have no problems with. But the power of the viewer is to change that line. So if you see a streamer or creator that you like, that you think is being a little too liberal with where they push their line, then you tell them to lift that line. You tell them to get a little more strict. Hey, I don't like it when you have Fansly as a sponsor. I don't like it when you have Coinbase. I don't like it when you have a VPN. That's all very legitimate things to feel as a viewer. And the feedback, I promise you, is always read. And whether it's acted on or not is to the judgment of the streamer. And I'm an open guy, so I'm down. I'm down for a conversation to figure out what's what. In my mind, an adult-oriented site doesn't bother me. I think it's fine. I think porn is chill and people can look at porn, and a site like Fansly where the creator directly profits off of it as opposed to all the shit that happens on the more conventional sites like Pornhub is a wholly good thing. And I don't generally mind doing it. I don't generally cater my content towards kids, and I don't consider the kids when I'm making my content. When I'm making a literal event that people are supposed to punch each other in the face, where half the time I'm getting drunk on stream or taking a gummy and playing Super Auto Pets, I'm not thinking about the kids. I'm not like, oh, should I be a good influence here? All I'm trying to do is be a good person to the world and make things that I find entertaining and I watch. That's it. So anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know. Thought I'd just give my 2 cents on this. I've been rambling for a little bit now, but I hope you have a good one. Hopefully this is the end of all the drama. No more drama this week. But let's make it a dramaless week. That'll happen.